Hi Stampers, I'm Meg from Loven Stamps and I'm really excited about this project. I actually had someone request it recently and I thought, oh, that would be so cute with detailed deer, or dashing deer. So dashing deer stamp set, detailed deer framelits, and you can make these cute little explosion boxes. So there's the cover or the box top, which is made, and I'll give you directions for that. And then when you open it up on the inside, you have this sweet little thing here. A candle and a little display and a banner. And do I have the words the right direction for you? Oh yeah, look, I even have the words the right direction. So let me give you some tips for doing this project. It's really perfect with the detailed deer thinlits because there's so many different cool design elements for it, and tips and tricks for cutting and so forth here. So grab your supplies, and remember that if you have your Stamps Mail Club kit, all this stuff is going to be pre-cut and pre-die cut, pre-scored, blah, 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 all that good stuff for you. But if not, you can still request one, or you can watch along and I'll give you directions in the video. So let's get stamping. This project has so many fun tips and tricks in it, so make sure to rewind and see any parts that you need again. But here is our box one more time. So with a little banner on the inside and our lid, and I will give you some cutting and scoring directions for this. So first thing is our base. So this is cut to 7.5 by 7.5, and I've scored it at 2.5 inches and 5 inches on both sides. So we have this plus. Now the first thing to do is to cut not on a score line. And rather than just score an extra time, I just find it honestly easier. So on one of these places, the first place I cut in, instead of cutting on the score line, I'm going to cut 1/2 inch inside the score line. And then on that corner, I'm going to go ahead and cut away the corner piece all the way up to the score line, but I'm going to leave myself this tab, okay? You only have to have one tab because we only have one place that our box is going to stand up. So all of the rest of these pieces just get cut away on all the corners. So when you cut these, you want to cut either right on the score line or just cut away the score line. So just inside the score line so that you're tossing away the part that's scored. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you just nicer, neat edges. If you cut to the outside of the score line, so you leave that score on there, you end up with kind of a mushed edge to your, free edge to your box. And I'm not as big a fan of that, so. All right, so I got those cut away. Remember, all except for this one here. Now to put our box together, super simple. I'm going to fold on all those score lines, take my tear tape, pop some tear tape on that edge. Remember, the harder you push down the tear tape, the easier it is to get the backing off, and then set that up, okay? So there's our card base. All right, next thing is the lid and the insert. You can tell this is the insert because it has the hole cut in the middle. So this is a 3x3 piece of cardstock, and it's scored at 3/8 inches on each side, which is kind of, 3x3 is kind of the magic size. If you're using the Stampin' Up punches, 3 inches will get you right to the center of your cardstock. So that can help you to remember the dimensions that you need there. And then you get your centered hole for your candle. Depending on your candle, you might have different size. This one is 1.5 inches, so it's a 1.5 inch hole punch. And I think actually my candle doesn't work. I tend to keep them around my craft room so that I can use them for projects, and then sometimes I forget to replace them when the batteries are dying. So usually our dollar store has 6 of them for $1, so that is always kind of a quick and easy way to replenish your supply. All right, so I'm folding on all these corners, and again, remember, the harder you push your tear tape down, the easier it is to get the backing off. And all 4 of these corners just tuck under with the flaps and the adhesive, and there we have our little base, okay? This one has a fun embellishment on it. Again, you punch out the little tiny chads that might be left, but then I'm going to use my fine tip glue pen, pop some fine tip glue on the back, and then, like I said in my other video, if you've seen that one or other videos when I've used this, the glue doesn't grab instantly. So what you want to do is go ahead and set this down and then let it have some time to grab. And so usually I just put another block on top of it. So that's what I'm going to do here. And to put your tip back on, lay your tip right on your finger and then bring the glue up to match it so that they're both right on your fingertip when you're doing that. The lid is exactly the same procedure as the insert for the candle. And so I'm just gonna trim right to the score line on those pieces. I'm not cutting away the corners like I did on the box because we want to be able to use those. We need the corners to be our tabs to hold everything together. And again, you're going to tear tape the corners and put this all together, which I have done through the magic of television. And then we have our designer series paper pieces that are going to layer on top. So this pretty piece of the farmhouse, festive farmhouse paper layers on the piece of mossy meadow that's going to match our box base. And by repeating these colors, it really makes our project come together like a complete project. So you want to squish that down pretty well with your snail. And then other pieces for the front, we have our deer and we have a couple sprigs. So I'm going to snag my deer from Dashing Deer and go ahead and stamp this upside down here on our cardstock. So ink your stamp and press it down. And then our deer, we're going to layer with Stampin' Dimensionals on our vellum. And I just like to put the dimensionals on the back of the deer and then press it down in the vellum. That way I know that the dimensionals will be hidden under our vellum. Now on the behind side of this, I'm going to go ahead and pop these sprigs underneath. And again, you don't want your dimensionals to show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer these on here and kind of look at where my deer is going to hide. And then I'll go ahead and put the dimensionals on top of the sprigs to hold them. But I'm going to hide the dimensionals behind the deer. So pop those two babies on so that they'll stay. And you could add some extra glue, like 2A glue pen fine tip glue pen or something under here if you want to, but these stay pretty well. And then the last part of the top of our box is this burlap ribbon, which is striped on both sides. And to tie a bow around nothing, I'm just going to make a loop. And let's see, I think we need a little less slack there. Hold the loop and then wrap around my thumb and just poke the end of the ribbon through that hole that I made. And that is going to give us our fun burlap bow. So you can snug this up pretty well. The burlap's not super compressible, so you won't be able to get it really tight, but that's okay. And we're going to take this, and you could put glue dots on the back, but honestly, I really think that just popping a strip of tear tape across there is the most surface area and the best chance of staying. The trickiest part of that is peeling off the adhesive backing when you're working with the burlap, because the tear tape doesn't want to stick super well, but be patient, you'll get it. All right, and there we have that. Now if you want to trim your ends, you can trim your ends, but I'm going to go ahead and leave them. So let's bring ourselves back to our box. This is going to fit on top here, and we have a couple pieces that are going to go out here, and I'm going to use this greeting here, remembering the season, and ink it in cherry cobbler and go ahead and stamp that. And I got it totally crooked, so I'm going to flip it over and try it again. All right, vaguely better. And then I'm going to take my sprig or my garland piece here and stamp it across in mossy meadow from the top and bottom. You could sign your name on the side there, or you could use this extra piece over here to sign your name. And I'm going to add 2 more strips of this in mossy meadow here. And then these 2 pieces get layered inside our explosion box, or exploding box card, whatever you want to call it. And they are fit right here in the center. And these are, I think, let's see, 2 1/4 inch pieces because they fit on our 2 1/2 inch scored pieces. So there we go. All right, now we have our piece inside here. Remember, I put the die cut from the Dashing or Detailed Deer on there. And then I have these 2 pieces that are going to go in the background. And what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive to them and stick them down, but I am not going to press down this back corner because this is where our linen thread is going to hold. So I'm just going to kind of leave this out so it's not pressed down. You don't have to really bend it. You don't want to damage the paper, but I don't want it to stick because I want to be able to layer that linen thread, so I want to make sure that's not attached. Okay, so for our linen thread banner, this is one of my favorites. Now, first of all, when the linen thread comes on a roll like this, you might have these little kinks. If you take your fingernail and you just press your fingernail into the pad of your finger and run it across there, it'll pull those kinks right out, so you don't have to worry about that. And then there's a strip here of paper, and I'm going to go ahead and cut about 1.25 inches. I'm going to cut it into 4 pieces. I guess you could cut it in half and then cut it in half again, because I've got room for 4 banners. And on each of these, I'm going to put a strip of tear tape that goes pretty much from one end to the other. And we're going to go ahead and wrap these around our linen thread and then cut the banner tails, so that we're not trying to like match things up or cut 2 ends the same, or that would just be a headache. But the nice thing about the tear tape is that it'll hold those banner pieces exactly where we want them on our linen thread. Okay, so again, the harder you push down, the easier it is to get the backing paper off. And I'm going to go ahead and start someplace towards the middle here. Go ahead and fold that around and match up your 2 ends and give it a nice tight squeeze, and there's going to be our first banner. So you're going to repeat this 4 times with the other strips, and then you're going to go ahead and take your scissors, I'll show you here with the paper snips, and you are going to just trim little banner ends on your pieces there. And if they're not all exactly the same, it's okay, it's just a banner. So go across here and the last one. And then I'm going to take those ends. You might have to twist the linen thread just a little bit so your banners all hang down. I'm going to take just the ends of that and pop them behind here so that they are stuck in behind our paper. So we had that adhesive there, which makes them stick nicely, and then stick these down. And then the linen thread just hangs out the end because I think it's kind of cute that way. And then we have our background. Okay, so this is going to go here. There's a pearl that sticks down on your piece. I put it right in the center of this little flower here and pop that in the middle. And when we have our banner, the box folds up. Let's see, here's my candle. Does it work? Nope, doesn't work. That's okay. So you'll have to add your own candle to your kit, but then yours will work. And I'm going to pop that up from the back, stick that behind, fold this over, and add our lid. And there is our explosion box card. So you could do these for all different seasons. I did one for my aunt. She just turned 90. So a happy birthday shout out to my Aunt Nancy. But I did one for her that was fall colors, and she really liked it. So she was excited to get that. And then you can light your candle before you give it to the person. It's kind of fun. That'd be neat for birthday tricks or things like that. I've also seen where people put little mini cupcakes, although you want to make sure your banner's not hanging down on your cupcake then. So, all right. Well, if you would like a Stamps in the Mail Club kit, you can still request one from my website at lovenstamps.com. And I look forward to sharing more projects again with you soon. If you haven't, you should like my channel on YouTube, which is Loven Stamps. And be sure to click that little bell so that you are notified when I post new videos and you don't miss out on any fun tips and tricks for stamping. So have a great day. Happy stamping, and thanks so much for watching.